Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How is everyone doing this evening? I'm doing great. It's a nice, beautiful evening out here in Columbus, Ohio. There's slight snow flurries. It's about 34 degrees. It's perfect weather. It's not quite freezing, but it's not quite warm either. It's not too bad. In the wintertime, I feel like my cat. You ever see your dogs and cat in the wintertime? Their fur gets extra thick and they're getting extra fluffy. That's how I feel like I'm getting stronger in the winter. My muscles are getting bigger. I kind of like the cold weather. It's not so bad. I kind of like it. But today, guys, what are we going to talk about? We're talking about the sacrifices, the blood sacrifices in the Old Testament. I thought I would just go through the book of Exodus in the Torah. I'll read the Torah a little bit because nobody ever reads this stuff really. Christians, you guys never really go back and go through the whole book of Exodus and read it. This stuff's really hard to read because it's very detailed and it just goes on and on and on about the procedures and how to properly do a blood sacrifice and how to worship Satan properly. Because essentially, guys, this is what I'm going to tell you like I tell you in every video. All right, Judaism and Christianity, those are two different religions. They're not the same religion. I always got to remind people that. They got this thing called Judeo-Christianity. We have shared values and shared beliefs. Well, the Jews believe in blood sacrifices. They believe they got to sacrifice a bull and a goat to Yahweh, the temple. All right. And I'm going to get to reading this, but I am actually driving home right now. And reading can be quite the difficult task while you're driving. Let's get it. I'm on the red light. And thou shalt cause a bullock to be brought before the tabernacle of the congregation, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the bullock. And thou shalt kill the bullock before the Lord, before Yahweh, by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. All right, because before they had a temple built with they had an actual temple that was built by Solomon. Before that, they had a tabernacle. It's pretty much the same thing as the temple, because that's where Yahweh lives. Because look, it says, thou shalt kill the bullock before Yahweh. So, pretty much in front of Yahweh. They're saying Yahweh is right there. Explain this. Somebody explain this to me. Now I'm asking the question. You teach me. Somebody tell me, what is this saying? What does that mean? Is it an idol of Yahweh? Perhaps that's what it is. Or maybe because Yahweh forbids that you make idols. Maybe it was an idol not made with human hands. Maybe it was a meteorite. Those were common in the ancient world. Like over there in Mecca, they still got the meteorite that they worship. All the Muslims go around in circles trampling each other to death just so they can touch the meteorite. Maybe that's what it was. I mean, what is it? Or maybe Yahweh was an actual physical being. Because the New Testament teaches us that God lives inside of us. Where's God at, guys? God is a spirit. We can feel the spirit inside of us. All right, we're all a part of God. All right, so this is talking about some kind of being. This is a man, a being. That's why some people say Yahweh's an alien. He's a reptilian. Some people say he was a dragon. So why did they have to kill bulls and goats for Yahweh? And Yahweh is very similar to Zeus. You had to do these exact same rituals and sacrifices for Zeus. You had to sacrifice bulls and goats for him at the temple. Exactly the same. I bet if you looked up the procedure for a sacrifice to Zeus, it would be very similar to this. Alright, so that's not talking about the real God. And Zeus is always depicted as a man. Like Apollo's depicted as a man. These are all like humans. That's not God. You gonna tell me God's a man? Then if God was a man, then why would Jesus, being God, have to come down and take the form of a man? So that is, y'all not making sense now. Gotcha, bitch. All right, and thou shalt kill the bullock before Yahweh. You gonna kill it in before? That really means in front of. I probably could look it up in Hebrew. Before Yahweh. So Yahweh's right. Were they killing bulls? Was he hungry? He's gonna make a cheeseburger. He's gonna make a steak. I mean, who doesn't like a good steak, right? I'm a vegetarian. I don't really eat. I'll eat a steak taco every once in a while. Usually, if I eat meat, that's about the only way I'll consume it. I'll eat steak tacos. I'm not opposed to ground beef tacos. Those aren't so bad, you know, but once you had the steak taco, it's kind of hard to go back, guys. But for the most part, I don't eat meat at all. But I will, all right? Definitely ain't eating no pork. Hell no. That's one thing Yahweh got right. You ain't supposed to eat no pork. Hey, did you guys know Marcion did not eat pork, right? Even Marcion, who said that Yahweh is not the father of Jesus, even he didn't eat pork. I don't think he ate beef either. They were damn near vegetarians from what I'm thinking. Just like Pythagoras. You know, a lot of great philosophers just spiritual people in general, you always end up going vegetarian sooner or later. Or for the most part. You just start thinking about stuff too much. Alright, let me continue. I'm going to get sidetracked way too easy. And thou shalt take of the blood of the bullock. Here they go with the blood again. Always got to play. They're playing in blood. What's up with Moses and Aaron? And they're always playing in blood, doing stuff with blood. Like blood is the greatest thing ever. Like, give me all the blood. They're called blood collectors. You know, some people collect Pokemon cards. Some people collect G.I. Joes. Some people collect baseball cards. I do have some cards. I collect cards, comic books. Guys, I gotta be honest with you guys. I have fuck tons of Pokemon cards. I don't know shit about them. I used to sell them. I know a little bit about Pokemon. That came after I was already grown up, though. The Pokemon stuff. So I don't really have nostalgia for it like some people do. But bro, I'm out there. Let me stay on track. And thou shalt take the blood of the bullock. They always collecting blood. And put it upon they say, take the blood, put it on the horns of the altar with thy finger, and pour all the blood beside the bottom of the altar. So they have a procedure of where you pour blood. Like, what is this about, bro? You guys sure this ain't devil worshiping? Are you telling me this is the God of Jesus? Because Jesus was clearly against sacrifices. There's a scripture on that in the book of Luke. All right. And you got to do it at the temple right here, the tabernacle, which was a temporary temple. They had a tabernacle. That's what they used as a temporary placeholder for an actual temple. But what is this all about? All this bloodletting and all this collecting of blood? That's not of God. You're going to tell me the real God of the universe said to do that. What I think this is, guys, I think this is just an ancient caveman religion. This is just the way man used to worship God in some kind of ancient, primitive manner. Or unless Yahweh is some kind of actual being who he actually needed a lot of blood. It's one of those two things, guys. Either Yahweh's an actual demon. He's a demon, an interdimensional being. And he's not a good person. Whatever he is, he ain't good. You shall know them by their fruits. Alright, so Jesus said we're going to know them by their fruits. So Yahweh, first of all, his fruits, he wants blood. All right, these are commandments from Yahweh. They had to kill a bullock right in front of Yahweh. He wants blood. Then he tells you to genocide your enemies, smash babies. We're going to read more of this when I get to a good reading spot. Hey, here comes a red light. All right, and thou shalt take all the fat that covereth, what does it say? All the fat that covereth the inwards, and the caul that is above the liver, and the two kidneys and the fat that is upon them, and burn them on the altar. So he's got procedures how you burn everything. But the flesh of the bullock and his skin and his dung thou shalt burn them fire without the camp, as it is a sin offering. So to burn the skin and the dung. This is disgusting. So they taking all the shit out the innards. And I can say something else. Some people would say this. I hear a lot of pagans. This is one of their copes. Here's a popular pagan cope. And Christians also say this. They will say that the blood sacrifices, oh, that's not devil worshiping. That shit was the ancient butcher shop. That's just the way they used to butcher animals. Nowadays we do it at the butcher shop, but back in the day you did it at the temple. And they made you sacrifice animals at the temple because that was a good sanitary way of killing the animal. It was pretty much like the USAD. What's that thing called? Where the beef inspectors of the ancient world. That's pretty much what they're saying. They're saying it was like the Department of Agriculture or Health or whatever. They was making sure we had clean, safe, sanitary meat. That's what they're trying to tell us, bro. But let me because they would say that all the sacrificial meat was eaten. They'll say, well, because God didn't really get hungry because the priests and all the people were the ones who were actually eating the meat. Is that true? That's half true. There's there's more than 2 types of sacrifices. But you got to know the difference between the different types of sacrifices. There's something called a peace offering. A peace offering is when you kill the animal, you had the priest eat it and the people eat the meat. Yes, that's a peace offering. But then you have something called a burnt offering. And a burnt offering is when you put the animal on the altar and the entire animal is consumed with fire and nobody eats any of it. It all goes to Yahweh. All of it. Okay, so no, the blood sacrifices has nothing to do with sanitary meat. All right, it's not just the ancient way. It's just not the ancient butcher shop. Oh no, they're really worshiping a God, and they really think God needs food. They really think that, guys. That's what a burnt offering is. The entire animal is burnt, and it's all for the Lord. Because God loves the smell. He loves the smell of burnt meat. It's a sweet savor unto him. That just sounds ridiculous. What is he, a dragon? Thou shalt also take 1 ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the ram. And thou shalt slay the ram, thou shalt take his blood and sprinkle it round about the altar. Right, so if they say the sacrifices, oh, that was just an ancient butcher shop, then why are they taking blood and sprinkling blood everywhere? That's unsanitary. You just playing in blood, dipping your hands in the blood, sprinkling it everywhere. No, this is a satanic ceremony, a pagan ceremony. I call it Satan. You know? Like, really, it's just ancient religion, guys. I like to talk a lot of shit. All right? But it really is the devil. All right? Just like Zeus is the devil. Ain't no different. I'm not doing blood sacrifices, sprinkling blood everywhere. And I'm not done. It gets worse. It gets worse. We're just starting. So they're sprinkling blood all over the altar. That ain't got nothing to do with no butcher shop. Okay? And no, I don't think so, guys. And thou shalt cut the ram in pieces, and and wash the inwards of him and his legs, and put them unto his pieces and unto his head. So they're just stacking up pieces of a ram. And thou shalt burn the whole ram upon the altar. Those shall burn the whole. They're not even eating it. It is a burnt offering unto Yahweh. It is a sweet savor, an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. So they got burnt the whole ram. They cut it in pieces, threw it up on the altar, and then burnt the whole thing up, bro. Nobody ate that. Okay? That was all for Yahweh. That was all for Yahweh. So a lot of you guys, you get your information from memes. You guys don't really be reading the Bible. I be reading the Bible. This stuff's hard to read, too. Nobody goes through Exodus 29. I've never seen anybody on YouTube read out of Exodus 29, ever. Ever. Look. And thou shalt take the other ram. Because, look, they just look past all this sacrificial stuff. They pretend like it don't exist. No, we got to talk about this. All right, this is devil worshiping, in my opinion. This is Satan. This is what the Jews do today. This is what they do in the Hollywood parties, or the Diddy parties. You know what I'm saying? If you heard of people doing blood sacrifices at a Hollywood party, you would say they all worship Satan. And you will be correct. Because who runs Hollywood? Jews? What book am I reading from? The book of the Jews? It all makes sense, guys. It's all coming together. That's why they do all those blood sacrifices in Hollywood. Because they practice Judaism. Big goofballs. They worship Satan. You gotta sacrifice your children to Satan. Just a test of your faith. Make sure you part of the team. Making sure you dedicated. How dedicated are you to Yahweh? You ready to sacrifice your son? Every firstborn that comes out the matrix belongs to me. That's what Yahweh said. Thou shalt kill the ram, take his blood, put it. Now listen to this. This is crazy. Now this is whacked out. This is whacked out. So the sacrifices was just not the ancient way of butchering animals so we could eat meat. That's not what this is. Then thou shalt kill the ram and take the blood and put it on the tip of the right ear of Aaron and upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of their right hand, and upon the great toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood on the altar round about. So they're over here dabbing blood on each other. They're getting blood earrings. That's another name for a heavy metal band, a blood earring. I don't know if that's like golden earring, a blood earring. I don't know, guys. You're running out of band names anywhere. Anyways. So, what is that, bro? Putting blood on your toe? Putting blood on your toes? Why are you putting blood on your toes, bro? Are you guys really telling me that the real God told us to put the blood of to kill a ram, chop it up in pieces, and put the blood, sprinkle blood everywhere, and then put ram blood on your toes? What kind of sense does that even make? Explain to me how that works scientifically. Does it give you magical powers? Oh, actually, though, if you know, somebody explain this to me. One of you Israelites or one of you Jews explain this to me. They're like, actually, you didn't study this. The blood on the toe actually prevents ingrown toenails. I mean, explain it to me, bro. Ain't no explaining this. This is retarded. That's what it is. This ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. And thou shalt take of the blood that is upon the altar and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it upon Aaron, and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon the garments of his sons, and he shall be hallowed. You know, because getting blood all over you, that's what makes you holy. And his garments, and his sons, and his sons' garments with him. And thou shalt take of the ram, the fat and the rump, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys. So you're just playing around with the organs. But it's like, what is this, bro? God never said to do this. It's the priest. Who is Jesus cursing out? The priesthood, the people who followed this. Who crucified Jesus? The people who followed this loyally. These guys, devil worshipers. And the fat that is upon them, the right shoulder is a ram of consecration. And 1 loaf of bread, and 1 cake of oil bread, and 1 wafer out of the basket of unleavened bread that is before Yahweh. And thou shalt put all in, that's hard to read. And thou shalt put all in the hands of Aaron, and in the hands of his sons, and shalt wave for them a wave offering before the Lord, before Yahweh. You're going to do it before Yahweh, so Yahweh is right there. He said he dwells with him. He'll appear on the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. He literally says he'll appear on it. So Yahweh's an actual being. It's a demon. But he's a mythological character, just like Zeus. Unless you guys are telling me Zeus is real, and that's one of the Anunnaki, like the movie Prometheus. And thou shalt take the breast. Oh, in that movie Prometheus, there was a deleted scene, from that Ridley Scott movie. There was a deleted scene in Prometheus where pretty much the aliens were like, we sent somebody here to try to teach you guys how to act right, but you killed him. Talking about Jesus. And thou shalt take the breast of the ram of Aaron's consecration and wave it before a wave, whatever, I just read that. And thou shalt sanctify the breast of the wave offering and the shoulder of the heave offering. I don't want to read all this. And it shall be Aaron's by a statute forever. It's supposed to be a statute forever. Because remember, Yahweh doesn't change. So Yahweh says forever. That means forever, ever. Forever, ever? Forever, ever. Till the end of time. Okay, forever. Because Yahweh doesn't change. So Yahweh never said you were supposed to stop sacrificing animals to him. Never, ever, ever said that. You can read all the prophecies in the Old Testament. They all speak of, the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Israel. They all speak of the kingdom of Israel, and they all say you're going to sacrifice bulls and goats at the temple. Okay, and that's in the end days. The end time prophecies of the Old Testament say they're going to build a temple and sacrifice bulls and goats. Jesus didn't say that. That's 100% opposite of Christianity. That's because this is satanic. And it says, that's how you know this is not the same as Christianity. And Yahweh is not Jesus' father. It don't line up. I don't feel like reading no more. I'm already at the spot. I'm ready to go up inside. It's been a long day. How long we been going? 20 minutes. I gave y'all 20 minutes of my life. I'm about to get up out of here. I got stuff to do. I got a lot of stuff to take care of right now. But I just wanted to read through this. It's just another wacky chapter in the Bible I wanted to bring to your attention. That's where, Moses and Aaron, they were all playing in blood. They were wiping blood on each other, bro. What's that got to do with God and loving God? What does that have to do with the God of love? That's like some voodoo, goddamn African Congo religion. Taking blood and painting it on your face and putting it on your ear, putting it on your toes. Come on, bro. This is weirdo stuff. Oh, y'all gotta renounce. I renounce it. I reject this. This is indefensible. The Old Testament is indefensible. I'm gonna say I'm up out of here, but this channel is for logical, reasonable people. Okay, people who love God, who are spiritual, but don't believe in bullshit. Okay, and this right here is bullshit. It's actually ram shit. Really had to take all the dung out the ram. They had to clean his intestines out. And he was full of shit. But yeah, with that, I gotta go, bro.